What's up? Hey guys, hi, hello, what's up? Hey guys, if you know who I am, hey guys, what's up? It's Daniela. If you don't know who I am, hi, my name is Daniela, and I've been making mediocre videos on the internet for 8 years. So if that's the kind of content that floats your boat, then maybe it's about time that you hit that red button down over yonder that says subscribe, because you know what? All we do here is vibe. We just have a really good time. So if you're into that, like, join the fam, because it's just a really good time here. Like, it really can't get any better. It really can't get any better than that now, can it? So yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. Like, what are you doing? Like, just subscribe. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about my experience with working in fast food. So, you guys probably don't know this because I haven't really had a reason to like bring it up. Now I do, because I'm literally making a whole video surrounding it. But I recently worked in a fast food burger place. I worked there for 2 months. And before I get started with the video, I also want to put out there that if you're looking for like spilling the tea on why I quit my job and stuff, this is not that video. Honestly, there's not really any tea, any like big drama that happened that made me quit. The only reason why I quit was because I was going back to school. That's literally the only reason why. There was nothing that happened. There was no beef with anyone. My experience was, I actually really liked my time working there, and I have a lot of good stories. And I got a lot of valuable stuff out of it, and I think it was really good for me to have this experience. And I'm really glad I did it, and I would definitely do it again. I'm also not going to be revealing in this video where I worked, because I don't want to like get sued. I'm not gonna like say anything bad or like talk trash about this place though. This is literally just like my experience, but I don't want to get sued. Like, it's better to be safe than sorry. Yeah, so and also just like for privacy reasons, like I don't know, like I don't want people stalking me. So I have some notes on my phone, so I can make sure that I hit everything that I want to hit. So, first thing I'm going to talk about is the interview. So, when I applied for this job, I applied online, and the reason I applied to this specific place was because I've been a regular customer there for like ever since I can remember, and it's actually my favorite burger place. So I figured it'd be really cool for that to be my first job. And they didn't actually get back to me until about a week and a half later. So I thought they were gonna get back to me like the following week. When they called me, I actually woke up because this was first thing in the morning. And so basically them calling me woke me up. And so it was around like 10 a.m. or something when they called me. And so I picked up the call, and basically they said they were doing open interviews that day. So basically they wanted me to come in as soon as I could. So I came in a couple hours later, and I was interviewed by the manager. The interview went really well, and like it was basically like having a conversation. Like, it wasn't just like acting like robots or whatever. Why do you want this job? Blah blah blah. Casually asking me questions about my life. So like, interviews for fast food jobs are really not much that you need to worry about. I don't know, I'm rambling. I promised myself I would make this video quick and to the point, so let's move on. So in my interview, I was asked for like my availability times. So I was basically asked to give a range of times that I would be available. And so I just kind of threw out like a random time range. my answer was 1 to 6 p.m., which I will admit is probably not the best time, probably not the most crucial time that they need people, because that's like in between lunch and dinner time. But basically I didn't end up just working from 1 to 6. I worked any time between 10 a.m. and 11 p.m. I had 2 like different shifts that I would work, and it kind of depended on the day which one of those shifts I would work. So pretty much I either worked like the lunchtime shift, like late breakfast / lunch shift, which was give or take 10:30 to like 5 p.m. Or I would work like the dinner shift, which was like 5 to 11. I'm honestly just glad that I never had to come in at like opening time, because I'm not a morning person at all. So basically the earliest I was ever assigned to come in was like 10:30 or 10:45, which is doable for me. So basically, before I started actually like working, I had to come in for training for 3 days. And basically training is just where you come in and it's basically you're just doing shadowing. So pretty much you just come in and like watch someone do what you're going to be doing, so that you like learn how to do it. So pretty much I forgot to say this earlier in the video, but I'm gonna say it now. Basically my job was, I was a cashier, so I would take orders. Yeah, that's what I did. Mostly I was assigned on the drive-thru, but sometimes I would work at the counter. But yeah, so when I did my training, I shadowed another cashier, and basically she just kind of taught me how to work the POS system, which if you don't know what that is, I think it stands for like point of service or something like that, point of something. It's the computer thing that you see when you go into like a fast food restaurant, and they're like tapping things on the computer. That's the POS system. So basically she taught me how to work the POS system and how to like take orders, what to say when taking orders. And I'm gonna admit, I was like at first taking orders, I was a bit hesitant to like take orders at first, because I was like, what do I say? Like I stood there and watched her like confidently take orders, but like at first I was just like, I just didn't know what to say. I was just like scared, but eventually like I had to do it, because that was what I was signing up for. So, and I actually got the hang of it pretty quickly and got really confident at it, faster than I thought I would. We were given like a script, and we didn't have to follow it word for word. It was more just like a general guide. So I kind of formed my own script, and it worked for me. Talking to customers, sometimes, depending on the situation, is harder, because I sometimes, especially like at the drive-thru, sometimes like people are soft-spoken, or like they have accents or something which are difficult to understand. So like sometimes I would have a harder time communicating. I eventually figured out what they were saying, but surprisingly it was even harder to hear people at the counter than it was at the drive-thru, because at the counter, like first of all, it was loud in the restaurant, because you know people are dining in and they're like talking, so it was loud. Second of all, people are wearing masks. It's harder to hear people when they're wearing masks. And also there was like one of them glass shields, you know, when you walk into like a fast food restaurant or like a front desk or anything along those lines, and they have like those glass shields to like for like protection. Yeah, so we had one of those, and so it was harder to hear people. There were also some times, and this actually happened more often than I thought it would, but there were some times when I had deaf customers come in, and I figured out pretty quickly that they were deaf, because like usually they would come have their order typed down on their phone, and they would just like show it to me, and then I would basically get the idea that they were deaf and mute, and like so they typed out their order or whatever. But like sometimes it was like harder to communicate with them because like I don't know sign language, so like I had to kind of figure out how to communicate without knowing sign language. So usually in that case, when they had their order typed out on their phone, I didn't really have to like speak to them because like I could just punch in the order, and then when I was done and like ready for them to put their card through, I would give them a thumbs up. So that's kind of how I figured that out. This was probably my least favorite part of working fast food. There were times when we had to go outside and work the drive-thru from there, and that was the thing I always dreaded, especially in the middle of the day when it was like the hottest out of the entire day. It was like the hottest time of the day. Not only that, but it was also the busiest time of the day because for some reason lunchtime is so busy. I swear we always got packed at lunchtime. Like, I just could not catch a break. And so, of course, the busiest time was the time that it was most important to go outside and work. And obviously, like, there was a reason to it. They weren't just doing that to torture us. Like, when we worked outside and took orders from there, it went faster. But it was the most dreadful part. And that was why I hated working the lunch hour, because I had to go outside in the heat, and we had to wear pants as part of our uniform, and pants in the heat are not fun. So yeah, so basically I'm so glad I always had my water with me. I never went outside without water. I don't think I would be here today if it wasn't for water. So I'm so glad I had my water, because that's how I survived working outside. So if you ever worked in the fast food industry, then you know that customer complaints / rude customers / Karens are kind of inevitable. Most of my customers were actually they were actually really nice. I thankfully didn't really have a lot of experiences with Karens, but I did have one experience. I would say this was actually my only problematic experience with a customer in the entire time that I worked at this place. While I was taking her order, I didn't really sense anything off about her. She just seemed like another customer just coming in to order some food. She seemed perfectly nice when I was taking her order. So I take this lady's order and stuff, and it's a more complicated order, so naturally there were some things that I messed up, and so when I was reading it back, there were some things that I had to correct. So I did those corrections, whatever, and I submitted the order, and I didn't really think much of it. And I go on my break some time later. As soon as I come back from my break, my shift lead tells me that she wants to have a word with me. My shift lead does not look very happy at this point. And at this point, I am very confused. I am assuming the worst. I'm like, am I gonna get fired? Like, I did not know what to think. So pretty much my shift lead proceeds to tell me that this customer left a complaint and said that I was rude, which I literally was not being rude, okay? I treated this customer just like I treat all my other customers. In my opinion, I don't think I was rude. I was like, hi, welcome back to da-da-da, my name is Daniela, can I get a name for the order? That's how I started every order off. That's the line I always said in the beginning of every order. I told her I'd have a nice day. You know, just like the normal stuff you'd hear from like a cashier, you know? But yeah, this lady complained that I was being rude and that I had messed up her order, and told her I was making corrections but didn't actually make them. Now I thought back, and I could have sworn I remember correcting whatever was wrong at first. Now maybe those corrections for some reason didn't go through. Maybe the machine didn't pick it up and I didn't notice, or whatever. I don't know, or maybe I misinterpreted something. But basically, this lady was not very happy and she had to be refunded and have her order redone. And pretty much after my shift lead told me all this, I felt so bad. I was like, is there like anything I can do? And my shift lead tells me like, it's not your fault, but you need to like be more focused. And so basically I just felt so bad and I felt like I messed up, and my shift wasn't quite over yet, so I had to put on my cheery cashier customer service voice and talk to more customers as if nothing happened, while inside I'm just totally beating myself up. Yeah, so that was not a very fun experience at all. And luckily, to make up for it, I guess, I've also had way more customers tell me that I was doing a really good job, so that always made my day to hear that, and it felt very refreshing and reassuring that I am doing a good job, and one customer complaining doesn't mean that I'm doing a bad job. So just like remember that. Just remember that you're doing a good job. Let's talk about that for a second, because the POS system at the place I worked at, let's just say that was not very good. Pretty much it always froze, and pretty much several times, this was always the worst thing, it would freeze and then like it would load, and there was nothing really I could do about it other than wait until it loaded. So then every time that happened while I was taking someone's order, I always had to tell them like, I'm sorry, our system is a bit slow. And they were always, like, customers were always very understanding about that. Like, they were like, oh, it's no problem, but it was still annoying because I hate making people wait. We got 15-minute breaks, which in my opinion wasn't long enough. I think that a better amount of time for breaks is like maybe half an hour. And it kind of depends on the place. I think some places give half-hour breaks, but we only got 15-minute breaks. And to me, that wasn't long enough, because especially when I was outside, which were those days that I was working outside, those were the most exhausting shifts, because working outside is so exhausting, because like the heat was just, it just makes you exhausted. So especially on my outside days, 15 minutes was not enough to truly take a break from all of that exhaustion. Even though the breaks were not long enough, I always looked forward to my breaks. It was just a nice thing to relax, even if it wasn't enough to truly relax and truly fight off the exhaustion from being outside. I always looked forward to my breaks. We got free meals, which was so nice. I loved getting free meals from my favorite restaurant. It was the best thing ever. And working really makes you hungry. So I would just be like super hungry. I would just really look forward to just sitting down with my burger and watching a YouTube video. That was like my moment of bliss. Piggybacking off of that, wow, I sound like a school discussion board. Piggybacking off of what I said earlier, free meals. I think that was probably my favorite part of working in fast food, to be honest, because like free meals, it's such a perk. I could just get whatever I wanted and like explore the menu, and I'm not sure if every fast food place does free meals, but I think most of them do. This is also another really nice perk. I got to explore the menu, and basically we could make our own drinks while we were on the clock. We could like make our own drinks for ourselves, and it wasn't the same with food, because with our meals, like we didn't just like make them, so we couldn't just like do whatever we wanted with them. We just like put them in the system. We also got free drinks, And for like drinks and shakes, like we could make our own. And we could do that at any point of our shift, as long as we were not like busy at the time, of course. But yeah, so I would sometimes get like lemon water, which is something that like fast food restaurants don't really do by default. I guess you can ask for it and they'll do it, but like basically for like our lemonade, there was like a huge container of lemon slices, because we would put lemon slices inside the lemonade. And so sometimes I would make myself a lemonade or like a water and put lemon slices in them. And lemon water really hits the spot when you're outside in 100-degree weather. Like it really just hits the spot. Sometimes I would also make a strawberry lemonade, it's kind of like a secret menu item. I've had a few customers ask for it, and pretty much we just took like the mix from the strawberry shake and we mixed that with lemonade, and it was a strawberry lemonade. And that's something I didn't even know was on the menu of this restaurant until I worked there. And so I had several customers ask for a strawberry lemonade. And so I made it for myself one day and it was delicious. That's something that you have to do when you work in a fast food place, is multitask. You have to be able to multitask, and that was not always the easiest thing, especially when I was working at the counter, or not even just at the counter, but like at the other register. Basically at our counter we had a register that was dedicated to like people coming in and like ordering, as opposed to drive-through. And then there was another one that was physically at the counter, but it was for the drive-through. So we would be like on the headset taking orders from the drive-through, but we would physically be at the counter, if that makes sense. So pretty much anytime I was working at the counter or drive-through but at the counter, that was when I would have to do the most multitasking, because there would be customers that come up and they might like ask for ketchup, and so I'd have to go and grab them a handful of ketchup packets. Or sometimes there would be people coming in to claim online orders, and so they would come in and be like, I have an order for so-and-so, and then I would give them the bag of food and sometimes the drink. Yeah, so there's a lot of multitasking going on. And also sometimes people would come up, like people would come into the restaurant to like order, and then they would come up to the register that was like physically at the counter but meant for the drive-through, but then they wouldn't realize that it was set to the drive-through. So they would come in to start ordering food, and then I'd have to like tell them, actually it's gonna be that one. Like I would point to the other register and then they would understand. But like it was so awkward whenever that happened while I was taking someone's order at the drive-thru, because I'd have to like talk to like two people at once, and yeah, it was a lot. But that's the reality of working fast food, is multitasking. This is something that always made my day. Whenever basically we always had to ask for the customer's name. And the reason we did that was because like we would put their name down so that the order would have a name on it. And also it just kind of built conversation skills or whatever. Like it just made it feel more conversational instead of like a robot. I don't know why I keep using that analogy. Yeah, so I would ask for the customer's name, and sometimes they would give me silly names. For example, one time I was working outside at the drive-thru, and I had a mom pull up in her car with her kids in the back seat. And so I asked the mom for like a name, and then the mom turns to her kids and says, basically asks them to shout out a name. And so one of the kids shouts out, John Cena! And I literally typed John Cena into the system. It was the funniest thing. I also had another customer give me the name Potatoes O'Brien. So So yeah, those were just a couple examples of silly names that I got. Honestly, every time someone gave me a silly name, it just made my day because it was a reminder to not take everything so seriously, especially in a job where like you're working and it's difficult and it's not always sunshine and rainbows, especially when you have customers complaining about you being rude when you're not being rude to them. It's just a nice, refreshing thing. Like customers being silly. It's just refreshing. I think I've pretty much covered everything, so now I'm gonna kind of give like a general overview of my experience. So obviously it was difficult because that's what having a job is. It's not going to be easy. So yeah, you just have to expect it to be difficult. But overall, it was a really valuable experience. I learned a lot, and overall, even though there were some ups and downs, it wasn't always sunshine and rainbows, but I think overall I did have a really good experience. Overall, I really enjoyed working there, and I don't regret my time there at all. And I wouldn't say I miss working there only because I think it's nice to like have a break, and it does get really tiring saying the same thing over and over and over again. But I would also definitely do it again if I ever like had the chance. Like I would do it again. I think this was a really good thing for me to do. It was really good for me to get the experience. Yeah. And I made some money too. That was a nice bonus. I mean, that's kind of what a job is. You make money. But it was good to like make some money and I guess to learn the value of hard work. Not that I didn't know the value of hard work before, but you know, I have more of an idea of like how hard it is to earn money. Like, money doesn't grow on trees, and in order to earn money, like you have to go through these hard experiences. You have to go through these experiences that aren't all sunshine and rainbows, because guess what? That's what work is. So yeah. So pretty much my general overview. If you're looking to get a fast food job, if you're like deciding whether or not it's worth it, I would definitely say it's worth it. I guess that depends on the pay. I guess depending on like how difficult the job is, how many rude customers come in, like how hard you go through, and how much the pay is, kind of relative to that. I guess it kind of depends. I think my experience was definitely worth it. Obviously all of the hardships that came with it was kind of expected. It wasn't like I went through anything terrible. Yeah, that's kind of my overview. Yeah, this video was probably 1,000,000 years long, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it helpful if you're thinking about working in the fast food industry. Yeah, I would definitely say go for it. It's a really good experience. It gives you a better idea of the value of hard work, and yeah. So yeah, I guess that pretty much concludes this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs up anyway, because it helps the algorithm. I don't know if it actually does, but I'm just gonna say that. Anyways, that is pretty much it. And I will see you guys, the subscribers and viewers, in the next video. Peace out, y'all. Woo!